Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. This is the podcast where we talk about current events, but we hear from both sides, the left and the right. We have Ryan in this corner. We have Ryan Cragen representing liberal policies and ideology. And in this other corner is Josh Cragen representing the right and conservative views. The born in the same place, raised by the same parents, but turned out completely different. Who knows? How did this happen? Who knows? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Ryan drank so much paint as a child.
So much pain.
Because I was doing all the work, apparently.
Nice. Hey, repartee. Well struck, brother. Well struck.
And I don't know if you noticed, we're both wearing gray today, right? Like, what's up with
Oh.
that? I'm not representing.
Yeah.
Sorry. And Josh doesn't know what color he's wearing because he's colorblind, so it doesn't
colorblind.
matter.
He doesn't see color.
Literally, he does not
Literally.
see color.
Tonight,
But I'm super racist. That's the weird thing.
we just sidestep that.
Somebody snipping that in the future, guaranteed.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Chicago Border Patrol. There was a civilian altercation about just over a week and a half ago in Chicago with the Border Patrol and a civilian. And
Yes, you heard Tom right. Chicago Border Patrol. Tell me that makes any sense.
And then we'll just also talk about the Israeli-Hamas ceasefire that just happened. So, but yeah, so we got good stuff coming. Lux bidets.
Yeah, I was going to say, good stuff coming. Actually, we're getting rid of some of the bad stuff, too.
And getting rid of some
There you
stuff.
go. Like, I got a transition here. I'm trying, right? You use a bidet, get a Lux bidet. You'll clean yourself out. It's all good.
You guys are becoming masters of the poop segue. I love it.
Once you bidet, everything else is just uncivilized after that. It really is true.
Truth.
Mhm. Absolutely.
All right. Ryan, you want to introduce just give us a little update on the Border Patrol incident?
Yep. So I was the one who sent the story. It came out, several days ago that there was a woman, her name's Marimar Martinez, she's 30, who the initial story was that she had not rammed. I don't want to use that term because it's not like she was like flying and slammed into a vehicle. She like bumped a vehicle, right? That was the initial story. And then when these Border Patrol agents, again, in Chicago, so this is happening in Chicago, when they got out of their cars and confronted her, apparently they said she pulled a gun and then they fired on her. Now, pretty quickly, there were some inconsistencies in that story. They fired on her, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but she then drove herself to a fire station, and they called an ambulance and took her to a hospital. And she survived, right? So she got shot like 5 times,
I
right?
thought she went to an auto body shop.
Yeah, something like that. So she drove herself away, right? So she drove away after getting shot, amazingly,
5
survived.
times.
Yeah, and like that in and of itself is weird, right? I don't know if you guys ever watch videos of like police shootings. I don't know. There's some weird part of me that like occasionally I want to watch these things. It's pretty morose and gross. But yeah, I know. But
You
typically,
sicko.
I
do
am
too.
a bit of a sicko,
I do
right?
too.
Like I probably shouldn't watch those things. But typically, when there's a shooting like that, and this is at one level why I have a great deal of respect for police officers. Like I know there are some bad apples, but a lot of them, they're trying to stop the violence, right? They're trying to stop what's going on. So they shoot them and then they immediately go and offer help, right? Like it's this weird switch that flips that I'm like, dude, you just shot that guy and now you're like pumping his chest to try and keep him alive, right? And
Yeah.
respect, like seriously, respect. Like I don't know that I could do that, right? That's actually really impressive. But the fact that like they shot her and then she drove herself caused some questions like immediately, but I was like, okay, this is not good. This seems really problematic for a variety of reasons, right? Like if she's doing that, that's bad. They're shooting somebody, that's bad. They're Border Patrol. What are they doing in Chicago? So there were questions. But then it just came out a couple days ago that she's been indicted, right? So she's been indicted by a federal grand jury. They're saying that she actually tried to threaten these agents. Her defense attorney just issued a press release. We haven't seen the video, right? So we haven't seen this. But the defense attorney said, yeah, check the body cam footage. If you look at the body cam footage, the story is very different from what the Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol were initially saying. They said that she hit their car, and he said that's actually not what happened. They turned into her car. They got out of their vehicle, and one of them, with their rifle, right, walked up to her car and said, "Do something, bitch." And then they opened fire on her, and she never pulled her gun. Her gun was in her purse the whole time. So she does have a gun, but she never pulled it out of her purse. They opened fire on her after taunting her, and then she drove herself away. And he said all the body cam footage supports this. And again, we don't know at this point. I'm assuming that at some point the body cam footage will actually come out and we'll be able to see it and be able to verify if that's actually true. So we don't know. Right. But I kind of wanted to run through this story for a couple of reasons. But the primary one is like, if that defense attorney is right, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Right. That's more what I wanted to ask is like, what is going on in this country if that's actually what's happening? Now, could not be the case. Right. And if it isn't, so be it. Again, I can't say definitively that that's what happened. I haven't seen the footage. All we have is a defense attorney saying, body cam footage is going to show that this is actually not what happened. What's your guys' take? Again, hypothetical, because we don't know.
I've got some thoughts on it. Josh, do you want to say?
Yeah. Why is that usually the order? Ryan explains, and then you go to me, and then Tom like fixes everything that both of us said. I think that's usually what happens. So here are my thoughts. So if you haven't been paying attention, and I've only quasi been paying attention, there's been a big hubbub lately about Trump using National Guard and troops and sending them into Chicago and Portland because there's problems, right? And the correct me if I'm wrong, but the main problem seems to be that ICE is rounding up a lot of illegal immigrants in these very liberal places, and people are really mad about it. And there was a shooting at an ICE facility in California like 2 weeks ago.
There was one in Texas.
Was it in
Where
Texas?
they actually, yeah, and they didn't actually shoot ICE agents. They shot the people they were arresting.
They shot immigrants.
Yeah,
like,
but it wasn't
good job, guys.
I don't think they meant to. Right?
No.
Well, we don't know. They didn't catch the guy, did they?
I thought they arrested 5 people. I could be wrong. I thought they arrested 5 people on that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're like a lot of people are mad at ICE agents, and there's a lot of ICE agents. And Ryan, maybe weigh in here. He mentioned, cause when Ryan introduced this, both Tom and I are like, Border Patrol agents in Chicago. What? Like they're in the wrong state. Ryan said they're kind of being used as ICE agents. And there's been a big push to hire more ICE agents, right? They're rounding up all the illegals and shipping them out, which I don't know that we need to go into that. Probably a good thing, but we don't need to go into that right now. So the big hubbub is there's these ICE agents in very little cities are kind of under siege. They're being shot at, they're being attacked, and in Chicago, I was listening to a piece on this today. I don't even remember by who, but he played a recording. It was the dispatch recording. There were ICE agents in Chicago, federal agents. They were surrounded by a whole bunch of very angry and they said in the dispatch report, armed people. And the federal agents were calling the police for help. And the dispatch call comes in, and then it gets overridden by the higher ups in the police department. They say, no, we're not responding to that. The federal agents are on their own. Ignore this call. So what appears to be happening is these ICE agents are trying to do their job. They're federally mandated to go and round up illegal immigrants. A lot of people are protesting this and getting violent. That's a fact. And the liberal or Democratic mayors of these cities are not providing any support. in my opinion, I'm just going to throw out what I think may be happening in this specific scenario. If you're one of these ICE agents, one of these federal agents, and you're in a very hostile environment and you're not getting it, like you can't even call the police for backup, you're gonna be freaking little itchy trigger finger there, right? These guys are feeling threatened. And in the article Ryan sent, this lady apparently, again, correct me if
She
I'm
was
wrong,
following them.
she was following them, screaming out the window,
Telling
La
people that
Migra
this
or
is ICE.
something.
Yep.
Yeah.
La
Kind of harassing them. And I think it said in that article there was like 5 or 6 other cars following them. Okay, so if you have 2 federal agents and they're surrounded by multiple cars of hostile people, I'm going to have an itchy trigger finger. And again, I liked how Ryan prefaced this by saying he has respect for law enforcement. There are so many people that they just expect that a cop would be perfect at their job and they would never like misread a situation or be jumpy or anything. Like, their jobs are so hard. Like if I screw up at my job, nobody dies. Nobody ever is going to die.
Those lawnmowers, Josh. Like if you ran somebody over.
I mean, I guess I could.
Did you never read the Lawnmower Man?
But like, it's not. I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
If a cop screws up, somebody dies.
Yep.
And we have federal agents that are trying to do their job in what it clearly appears to me to be a very hostile environment, where there has been plenty of violence against ICE agents and federal agents in the last couple of weeks, and they're getting no help from the city and no help from the cops. These guys are under siege, and they're being followed by 5 or 6 cars of people that are armed. If the body cam footage does exonerate this woman and she was just following them around and kind of harassing them, okay, but instinctively I'm going to err on the side of the cops in this situation, because they're just trying to do their job. Or not the cops, the federal agents. They're trying to do their jobs here, and they're being harassed by armed people over and over and over again. Yeah, they're probably going to have some itchy trigger fingers. I asked a friend of mine who was a cop down in Salt Lake about, how do you approach these dangerous situations when somebody might be armed, and it's like iffy, 50-50, you're not sure what to do. And he said, at the end of the day, I'm going home to my family, even if I lose my job, because I don't know. I don't know if a guy that I'm approaching is on meth and is going to pull a gun. So I'm going to err on the side of, I'm going to put down the threat if it looks like a threat, and then I'm going to render assistance, like Ryan said, right? These guys want to go home to their families, and you have a bunch of hostile people following them around. Yeah, maybe in the heat of the moment, either they didn't realize that they were the ones kind of instigating it, or maybe they felt threatened when they're surrounded by a lot of people. Like, clearly they were outnumbered. Dang, like, I don't want to be in that situation. I'm gonna be hard pressed to find these guys guilty when, like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? If you're going to be following a guy around with an assault rifle and you're going to be harassing him and you've got a gun on you, you might get shot. Sorry, that's how that works. Tom?
Okay, so a couple of things. Okay, being a cop is like the last job in the world I ever want to do. And
Right.
like, kind of along what Josh was saying, yeah, you have a bad day, someone gets killed, or the guy who's saying, I'm okay with losing my job, I just want to get back with my family. Those are 2 also considerations. The worst one is me doing something wrong and going to jail for like 20 years, right? Which also happens, right? It's like I read the situation wrong, shot someone, and then like, oh, and now criminal charging. I'm like, I think I've said this before, but like at my previous job when I was an executive, I made a mistake and we put some wrong data set into a thing. And for like 1 or 2 days, we were running the wrong data set. It cost the company $25,000, right? That sucks. I didn't lose my job. Nothing happened, right? I didn't go to jail, right? It was like, whoops, right?
Playing a different ball game here.
Right. It was just a different ball game. So like, yes, mad respect for police. Like, you got to read that situation. You got to get it right. And like, and your feelings and people are taunting you, man, that would be hard. So like, I don't ever want to do that. Well, so all right. So here's my big take is like this was really interesting because I read the article that Ryan sent, and this is from it's kind of like the counter story of like, and this is the defense attorney, and it's basically saying that this woman was driving and she said she was on her way to do some laundry or something or
Oh,
run
yeah,
some
she
errands.
had some errand she was doing.
Yeah, and then she heard that. So it's like sounds very defensive. Like she's like, I was just, oh my gosh, I got caught up in this thing, and then like, so then she goes to she learns that they're nearby. She starts following them, and then they actually hit her car,
Yep.
and then they said she had a gun, but it stayed in her purse the entire time. And so like, so they're like, oh my gosh, she was armed, but like she was like, but she didn't have it on her or ever in her hand. And then they shot her, right? And then she went to the
Auto body shop or
auto
something.
body
Yeah.
shop and called the police or the hospital, and the ambulance came and got her and took her to the hospital. But so this is what's interesting is like that's like one side, and I think almost everything there is essentially true, right? But it's like told from that perspective, and like, but then I read it a couple other. I was like, because I was thinking this is the one which was I think a week or two before where someone rammed a an ICE patrol, and I was
Hmm.
thinking that way it was this. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. So I read a different article, and this was definitely a like right after it released. It was on Fox, and it was like a different story. And it's interesting because you get a different side of the story. And so like I said, I think everything in that article like that Ryan sent me is true. But like the other side of it, like just it just kind of fills in the details. Like first, so there was a few different things, right? So her gun was a semi-automatic gun. I don't know what it was, but it's a little more than just like my little hand pistol, right? That's like that I keep for, you know. So it seemed like it was something with some guts, right? And so you're like, okay, did she didn't pull it out, but like, you know, who knows,
Did,
right? Like,
did she go for it?
well, no,
Like,
I don't even think she went for it, but I'm just saying she's got a decent
but we
gun.
don't know until we see the body
We need
cam
to see the body
footage.
cam footage.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think, no, I don't think we'll ever see the gun because she didn't pull it out. I think it stayed in
Right.
her
I don't
purse.
think she pulled it out.
But like, all I'm saying is like, she didn't, it wasn't a toy, right? Like, it could
No, it
have,
was not a toy gun. She had a gun,
Well, what I'm
and she had a
saying is,
permit to have a gun.
if you have a cop with an itchy trigger finger, if somebody just makes a movement somewhere
right,
they can't see, doesn't matter if the
right,
gun stayed in the purse. If she's
right.
reaching for a weapon, you might get shot.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to say. Sorry, keep going,
No,
Tom.
that makes sense. But then the other part of it is like yes, she was in like there was another guy who I guess probably the one that had informed her that there was people in the area and they were around. There was 10 cars total and they were blocking in
Jeez.
the car. And then she was saying and I think in Ryan's article it said she was yelling la immigras so like agents immigration agents.
Hmm.
She's like yelling it out the window. I mean, just to tell everybody. But I think the big thing was that she was blocking them in, and they couldn't. So I think they did swerve to hit her because I think they were trying to get themselves out and like because you know are they being corralled? Were they being pushed into a certain direction? Right down a street to an ambush? Who knows? Right? It's
Yeah.
like I could see them swerving into him, being like, "Hey, we're gonna get out of here. We're not gonna get pushed into we're not gonna let you take us somewhere." And so like that and then like I thought from when I read the article, I thought they were in the car when they said make a move B, but like saying like come do something and then we'll react. But like should they have shot at her? Sounds like no, but like maybe she did reach. I don't know, right? But like this is just the defense
Well,
attorney. I
and
don't know.
what were the other 10 cars doing? Like
We
the
don't know.
last place you want to be is surrounded by
Surrounded.
10 cars full of hostiles.
Right,
Like, and there's two of you.
right.
I
So
It's hard for me. No, sorry. Go, Tom. Go.
oh, all I'm saying is like, did he make a mistake, right, by like overreacting and shooting? I don't know, right? But like, and I think this is all going to bear out in an investigation. But like, but there's more to it than just them going nuts, right? Or like them, like there was definitely justification to act. I think like they were being certainly intimidated, and it's like should they have shot her? I don't know, right? Maybe not, but it's like there's definitely two sides here, and that's what I think we were just having a conversation earlier that like your news source creates this narrative, right? And you're like, get this sense for like what's going on. And if you read one side, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what are these civilians doing, right? Surrounding cars with semi-automatics, right? And then the other side, you're like, what are these agents doing, right? They're out of control. And it's so interesting, right? To like it, and I think like everything I've said, I believe, it's all true. Everything happened exactly as was said, but it's just you can paint it a certain way and leave things out, right? Leave like kind of pieces out that like paint the bigger picture. So I think it's something we've said a long time. Like the truth is somewhere in the middle, and and I think once in a month we'll probably have a conclusive investigation. But right now it's very people are running with their sides of the story, right? And I think this is why, Jimmy Kimmel came out and was like, this is what happened, right? And he's saying his version, but we didn't have all the facts yet, right? And it was like, this is my take on what we've heard, and and we get and then more stuff comes out, and it's like, oh, okay, it was more like this, and so that's and I'm referring to the Charlie Kirk thing when he's like, oh, what, it was a MAGA person, and so like it's interesting, right? The each side's kind of running. It's almost propaganda in a way. I mean, it's not, but they're telling their
It's
version.
borderline.
It's I don't know. So this is
Well,
interesting.
Maybe it speaks to the bigger issue of why this situation is simmering, why these tensions are so high. And I don't know if we want to extrapolate into that, Ryan. This is your topic, so I'll let
They're
you
feeding
decide.
it, right? Is that what you mean, Dennis?
Yeah, with the liberal cities that are trying to be like haven sanctuaries for illegals, and they're not cooperating with the ICE agents that are operating on this federal mandate to get rid of illegals. I think that's why tensions are escalating, and now we're seeing all of this violence against federal agents.
So I caught a podcast from the Wall Street Journal today. So it's one of the podcasts I listened to. It was actually an interview with Kathy Hochul, the mayor of New York. And she said, I mean, I'm not going to go into a lot of the details, but I thought it was actually quite interesting. She said, when Trump was running, he said, we're going to get rid of the worst immigrants. Like that's what he was going to do. And Kathy Hochul, who's a Democrat, right? And she's kind of a moderate, she identifies as a moderate Democrat. She said, I 100% will agree with Donald Trump that we should get rid of the worst illegal immigrants. And I will do everything within my power as the mayor, as the governor of New York, to help him get rid of the worst immigrants. But then she turned around and said, current borders are, right? Tom, whatever his name is, the guy who took a bribe, and it's ridiculous. He's from New York. He's from a small town in New York. And there was just an ICE raid where they arrested a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and their mom, and were trying to kick him out of the country. And she's like, that's not what Trump promised, right?
Tom Homan.
Yeah, Tom Homan. She's like, I'll help him. I'll help him get rid of the worst. If he wants to kick the criminals out, 100% on board with that. Why is he arresting 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds? What did they do?
Oh, is that? Okay,
well, I don't think that was their target. Was the 3-year-old and the 5-year-old?
I think the mom was illegal, and she took her kids with her. That's different. Like again, how is that? But
do you see the point, right? Like her point is,
but how is that reported?
Why are we doing it? Well, how is it relevant?
The point is that she's an everyday person. You're saying she's not like a big time criminal,
exactly?
Right? Not the worst.
So
sure,
so
but she's still illegal.
These cities where they're like, oh, we're going to be havens. What they're saying is, we'll help you arrest the criminals. Why are you taking the people who are actually helping? Mm-hmm. Right? Right now, I know I'm making it about Florida again. I do this all the time, right? There are a bunch of farmers here in Florida
at this point, I think we should just give Ryan one free pass. We're not going to say anything. You can just bring Florida.
I'm going to bring Florida up, right?
You can show your sun pass. And
thank you. I do have it in the car. Okay. There are a bunch of farmers who can't find laborers to pick strawberries, right? Because they're so afraid. And here's the thing. These are also the farmers who are hiring legal migrant laborers who come in on a visa specifically to do migrant labor on farms.
Yeah,
they're not willing to come. They're
Right.
not willing to come because ICE is arresting everybody. They're not discriminating against, we're only going to target the worst of the worst. They're just like, oh, immigrants, we're going to pick them all up. And so I get the point that you're both making. I think it's actually a reasonable point that the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna concede that. I think that's useful. But I think it's also useful to point out it's not that Chicago or Portland is just going like, screw Trump, we're just going to fight him no matter what. They're saying, we're going to try and hold you to your word. You said you were going to arrest the worst of the worst and you're going to kick him out. Fine, do that. But don't arrest my neighbor who's working a job and like holding down a family and he's got two kids who were born here who are actually American citizens now. You never said you were going to do that. We're not okay with you doing that.
Ryan, what
Ryan, I like your point.
what
Good
should
point.
it look? What should
Very
we
good point.
be doing? What should be happening? What?
I don't know if you guys caught this. It's like bad but good at some like it almost made me laugh, but it was awkward. Did you guys hear that in the last quarter, the deportations that have taken place in the U.S. was actually lower than under Biden's term? And so that was just announced, like Trump just found that out, that in the last quarter here in 2025, they deported fewer people than Biden was deporting during his administration, like per quarter.
Right.
And he's like, how are we doing worse than Biden did in
Well,
deporting
They're to get
immigrants?
rid of everybody.
I think. Well, I think there's a number of reasons for that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, there may be, right? But to me, I think they've lost the bigger picture, and I think that's deeply problematic. And this is why they're not getting a lot of support, particularly in these more progressive cities. But I think there's another piece to this, which I don't necessarily want to go into today. They promised one thing, and now they're just doing blanket sweeps of like any immigrant we can find, we're going to kick them out of this country. And okay,
Illegal
if we want to
immigrants.
have an argument about like illegal immigrants, good, bad, that's a different question, I
Right,
think.
right.
Yeah.
They promised one thing, and now they're just rounding up everybody and trying to kick everybody out of the country.
Well,
Why would we agree to that?
I don't know if that's what he promised, right? I don't know. I think he said, I'm going to go after illegal immigrants. Right?
I mean, we can check, but
Well, no,
Kathy
his
Hochul
press
said,
secretary,
worst of the worst.
when asked about it, his press secretary, like that first week, she said, let's be clear, if they're here illegally, they're criminals, but we're going to target the actual criminals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what she said. I don't know, to Tom's point, I don't know if they ever said they weren't going to go after all illegals, but to be fair to what Ryan's saying, that was the impetus right off the bat, is they were going to get rid of the gang
Yeah.
members and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So that's what I was asking. What should happen? I mean, like, so I'm going to throw out a scenario. Should we, because I mean, like, the border's tight, much tighter than it's been in a long time.
Immigration's the lowest it's been in a long time.
which is
And
good.
so
Yeah,
like
we're fine with that.
we've the house was flooding. We fixed the leak, and the leak is no longer flooding, but now we have all this water in the house, right? Well, what are we going to do about it? And so like that's, I think, the argument of like, are we going to get rid of every illegal that ever came in, right? Or do we say amnesty and, like, okay, you got in, good for you, don't screw up, and you'll be fine, or and we're doing something in the middle where it's painful, right? And it would have to be. This is going to happen if you were going to try and take care of every illegal. This is going to happen. So like, should we not? Should we be like, okay, you're here, you mess up, you're out, right? One strike, you're out. We find anything, any problems, you're out. Would that be like appropriate?
Can I run with this metaphor for just 1 second? Because I think it's a good one, right? Let's say that you have an indoor pool, right? So you want to get rid of the water that's causing damage, but if a bunch of water that flooded into your house just filled up your pool,
All right.
right? I'm sorry, your metaphor just made me laugh, right? Because it's like
Wow.
we have a bunch of illegal
It
immigrants.
could be useful to have the water
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
We have a bunch of illegal immigrants who are doing the work that we don't want to do.
Yeah. I don't know if that has ever happened in the history of flooding, a house flood.
Yeah,
I've heard about this
this
house flooding.
this pipe burst, but it was right above my pool. That's
Win-win,
right.
right? Caused a little bit of damage. We took care of that, but it filled up the pool.
And I was gonna have to pay a plumber to bring in a new pipe to fill my pool. Didn't
pipe
even have
pipe
to.
fixed it. Problem solved. Sorry, I had to. Like the metaphor just worked
Wow.
so well for
All
like
right.
some of the water's good
I'm not
water, right?
I'm not
Like
disagreeing with Ryan a lot here. If Trump decided that I'm awesome and he's going to replace Tom Homan with me, my take would be I would just announce, hey, if you're here illegally, but you're not a criminal, come come
Congrats.
self-report, and we're going to put you on a path to citizenship. If you have a job, if you keep your nose clean, we'll make you a citizen in a couple of years. But you have to do it right. You can't just be here illegally. We're a
Right.
country of laws. You have to respect that. Here's the path to citizenship. If you got here,
Maybe pay a fine.
yeah, like a small fine, a little slap on the wrist saying
$200
you
or
broke the
something.
law. This is a country of laws. You have to integrate to a degree. That would be my way of doing
That
it.
would sit well with you.
I wouldn't have a problem with that either. The problem right now is they're saying, "Hey, if you're here illegally, come register," and then they arrest them and they deport them.
And then we're gonna kick you out.
Right?
Right.
Like
That's not
You're
so
saying
good.
it's too far, Ryan.
well,
And
look, here's the crazy thing. I'm not in favor of illegal immigration, right?
Mhm.
So it's almost like the two sides are being depicted as like one side wants to kill all the immigrants and the other one's like, we want all of the illegal immigrants on the planet to come to this country, right?
You're
Like
exactly
that's
right.
the way that it's playing out.
That's how it's being
Yes.
portrayed. You're
Depicted,
right.
right? Like those are the two sides. And the reality is I think most Americans are saying, okay, we don't want illegal immigrants. Like that we don't want that, right? So we're not in favor of it. But if they're here and they're not gangbangers, criminals, and they're actually the ones picking my strawberries that I get for, dirt cheap, really? Do you really need to kick those people out? They're not causing problems. They're actually doing jobs that nobody wants. Maybe we just kind of like do what Josh said. Let's give them a path to amnesty. We'll eventually make them legal, and we've stopped the flooding, right? I think that's actually where most Americans are. Like genuinely, I think that's where most Americans are. Why then are we going this other route of like, nope, round every one of them up, kick them all out of the country,
I
tear
mean,
families apart, right? Like it's
I know
problematic.
people. I'm not gonna give any more details because I don't want to give ICE any leads. But I know people that are
They
here
are listening to
illegally.
the podcast,
They
Josh.
might
They
be.
are
They might
100%
be.
listening to the podcast.
I am 100% pro ICE. You guys keep doing what you're doing. No, did I just
Why
lose
did he just
video?
blink his screen? He did that
I didn't.
after he blinked his screen.
I didn't do that on. I don't know
Going
why that
anonymous.
did.
I'm 100% pro ice. You cannot see me. You don't know who I am.
My name is Tom Triplet. Triplet.
R.I.P.
No, I know this family. They're actually kind of annoying. But they're here illegally. They overstayed a visa. But they're working hard. He's got a job. He started a company, and I was like, man, he might lose everything because he's here illegally, and they're so afraid. They're Latinos.
Have you talked to them? Like, at
Yeah,
all?
I talk to them all the time. I'm not going to give any more details. I'll tell you guys after the podcast. I talk to them all the time. Um, they they stopped going to the Latino ward because they were afraid that ICE would like be
Show up.
looking at the ward. So they're going
Yeah.
to an English speaking ward. Like they're living in fear.
Mhm.
That's kind of. I mean, I'm of two minds here. They lied to me when they came. They said they were perfectly legal. They lied to me. I don't like that. And that is kind of a Latino thing I'm dealing with right now. I have a bunch of Latino renters. I had one lied to me today. Lying in their culture is just like, it's like bribing cops, right? They in Mexico, you bribe cops. That's your interaction with the cops. I feel bad because they are literally living in fear that they might lose everything they've built and they might get shipped out. At the same time, they didn't follow the rules and they lied to get their way here. That frustrates me. So I like that Tom said maybe they should pay a fine. They're liars. They broke the law. But it seems pretty insane to just send them back when they're working hard and they want to be here and they like America and they're not they're not like working contra America. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
Right, right. I do actually like that idea because I was saying like, oh, you got in for free, congrats. But then yeah, when you start talking about like check in, there has to be some type of restitution, right? Make some kind of
Yeah.
type of restitution, even if it's just a pittance, and just be like, sorry, I'm here. I'm going to try hard. Then I think that actually would sit well with almost all Americans.
Yeah.
And like would be like, yeah, because there's a lot of people that don't like I do take issue with like Ryan saying jobs that Americans don't want to do. They don't want to do it at that pay, whatever is being paid, right? And
Sure.
the
Hey, if you paid me $250,000 a year to harvest strawberries, I'd
oh yeah,
probably take the job.
a lot of people would take the job, and it's about it's supply and demand, right? And it's like, yeah, those guys will do it because this is a job they can do, and it's
Yeah.
unskilled labor, and whatever. So it's when you said they're having trouble finding people, well, guess how you fix it? You increase the pay, right? And you'll find more people. And like,
Maybe your strawberries won't be dirt cheap, but
right. They'll no longer
then
be
it'll,
dirt cheap.
then it'll be a decent job. Like that's
I'm totally
Tom's
fine with
right.
that option. Totally fine with that option.
Um, well, okay, good. I think we're kind of in agreement on a number of things.
Pretty well
Yeah.
everything.
It would be nice if when the body cam footage comes out, if we revisit this.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that would be.
I don't think we've done that much on the podcast, right? Where we actually go back. A lot of times that does fall through the cracks in news stories that it's like big splashy headline, something,
Right.
something, and then no one ever
But
follows up. We should totally follow up.
I feel like we're like always behind the eight ball there because we don't report on stuff the day it happens or the day after. But I hate doing that because it's so much speculation. Nobody ever knows the details. Everybody's just like, this is what happened and this is what you should believe about it. And I hate that. So I like that. I mean, we should do more podcasts. We've been pretty bad lately, but I like the idea of revisiting it because I like that we usually don't come on the day after and blow something up that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, we're
I hate
half
that.
informed by the time we report
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
That's accurate.
That's very generous.
But I agree.
Oh no, I'm picturing in my mind, even before Ryan said that, we're gonna see the body cam footage, and this lady's gonna have like a bandolier of grenades, and she doesn't have the gun, but she's holding the purse in one hand, and she's got like a knife,
Camo painted all over her
Yeah.
face and
like
everything.
a
First blood.
tattoo
I will eat
that
a
says
lot of crow if that is the video. I'll laugh a lot too, but boy, would I eat
Mata la
crow.
migra, like
Mata la migra, kill immigration.
kill
Holy
immigration
crap.
tattoo on her face. I mean,
All right, let's talk about the Israeli Hamas ceasefire. Josh, you want to just give us the major details there, overview?
yeah, Ryan, when are we gonna give Trump the
Nobel Peace Prize? Never.
Okay, I'll give some details and then I'm going to revisit that.
Sure.
So Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, they came up with this plan to do a ceasefire with this. Why does my video keep going out? You can't see now, but you can see I'm not touching anything. My video just keeps like popping
I
off.
know.
That's weird.
I don't know. Weird.
So Trump came up with this peace plan, which I don't know. It would be interesting to see how many peace plans have happened over the last 2,000 years for the Middle East. There's been a lot of them. So Trump came up with another one, and as of today is the 13th, October 13th. The Israelis and the Palestinians have stopped fighting. Okay. To be fair, the Palestinians have not stopped fighting. There are now reports that Hamas is fighting with other tribes in Gaza to decide who's going to be in charge of Gaza.
Right. Okay.
Again, right? So now they're still fighting. A dozen people have died, but the war between Hamas and Gaza Strip and Israel has stopped. There's been a ceasefire, and most miraculously of all, and this is why I even bring up the Nobel Peace Prize, the remaining hostages have been freed. It's either yesterday or today. Hostages
this
are
morning.
freed.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome. Like, wow, better than I thought. When Trump said that he had a new peace plan. I was like, well, okay, let's see it. Let's see if it works. So far, so good. Like the Palestinians, and here's why I'm hopeful for the first time in a very long time. It's not that there's just ceasefire. There's been plenty of ceasefires. It's not so much that they got the hostages, because there have been a lot of hostage exchanges between Israel and the Palestinians over the years. Usually it's like 1,000 Hamas terrorists for one Israeli. Like usually that's the exchange rate, which is kind of funny to me for some sick reason. But I mean, it is notable. These hostages have been there for 2 years and they got the hostages out. Why I'm so hopeful is because Trump has gotten almost every Middle Eastern Muslim country on board to try to help broker this and to put pressure on Hamas to stop fighting. Like he's got almost everybody, like Egypt and Qatar, like all of these countries, that a lot of them have been funding the terrorism. Almost all of them are now on board saying, yeah, let's put a stop to this. And if we need to put Muslim troops from like Egypt in Gaza to help keep the peace, let's do that, because that's probably better than having Israeli troops there or American troops there. So you have these other countries that have historically been very anti-Israel. They are like coming to the table and going, yeah, let's stop with the fighting. This is stupid. That's pretty dang cool. I don't know how long. Again, maybe we need to revisit this. It could all
didn't age well.
Yeah, it might not age well, but Trump did get the prisoners out, and he's got all of the other Middle Eastern powers playing ball, and they're talking peace. That's freaking hopeful. Like, I don't know the last time I've been hopeful for an actual peace in the Middle East until today, literally today. That's why Ryan proposed this other topic, and I said I'd like to talk about this because that's pretty cool. And hopefully this does age well. Hopefully we do get some sort of lasting peace. Hopefully we do get a Palestinian state that is not run by Hamas. Like, how cool would that be? How cool would it be that we could actually send in humanitarian supplies there and it wouldn't just immediately be stolen by Hamas? Like, Hamas is killing other Palestinians right now because they still want to be in charge when this is all said and done, right? I'm hopeful, and I don't know where you guys sit on this, but yeah, go ahead, Tom. You want to say something?
Just a technical clarification on the Nobel Peace Prize, because I don't quite understand, because I heard rumblings that he should get it, but then they awarded it. Was that scheduled to be awarded?
Yeah.
Then?
They're awarding all the Nobel Prizes right now. So they do it around this time every year. Right. Yeah. They do it around this time.
There's some for like
there's chemistry.
Science.
Yeah, there's chemistry, there's economics,
there's several
there's
different ones
physics.
they give.
Yeah.
If they were going to award Trump the Nobel Peace Prize, it would be like this quick last minute decision. They probably, I assume
it was already decided.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it was
already
basically, it's been mulled over and reviewed for months who was going to get it.
Give him another one. Like,
no,
if they're already handing out 30 of them or however many they hand out, like, honestly, why did Obama get a peace prize? What did he do?
That I know Obama. Yeah, that one was always
weird. I mean, you guys know I've been critical on 2 of the last 3 of our podcasts. I've been very critical of Trump. This is cool. Like, I don't know who else pulls this off. Nobody else has pulled off something like this in my lifetime. This is cool.
Well,
I don't.
We're gonna challenge that a little bit, but
my only point I was bringing up is that, like, he didn't, like, it was just too late for him to get it, and so maybe he'll get it next year, right? Like,
he's not going to get it.
I'm just saying, like,
they're too liberal. They'll never give it to him.
Well, yeah, they are.
It's not like he is pro all forms of peace.
Well, and I think giving it to Ryan, would you admit
he is currently killing Venezuelan drug smugglers, right? Like, he's in a proxy war with Venezuela right now.
Yeah, Ryan, do your bit. You give your rebuttal.
So if we're going for peace prizes, right? Maybe we don't give it to somebody who's just wantonly killing people in the middle of the ocean. Anyway, we'll come back to that. We can do that later.
He blew up 1 drug boat.
3. He's up to 3. He's up to 3.
And it worked. It worked though, because you have
they're still sending people,
but you have Venezuelan drug members that are like I don't want to go out there. I'm not going on that boat. I'll get
Sure.
blown up.
No,
Like, it's
so be
working.
it, right? Is it arguably a violation of international law? Yeah, arguably, right? But so be it, right? Anyway, let's talk about the real topic, not that.
That's your bone you're picking?
No. I didn't even want to bring that up, right? You're the one who's like he should get a Nobel
You brought
Prize.
it
I
up.
want to talk about the Israel Hamas Gaza ceasefire.
Okay,
So bear with me because I am going to give him a little bit of credit at the end. Okay. But here's the tricky part.
Be patient, Josh.
Yes,
that was so painful for Ryan to even say that.
Not really.
I will give him
Not really.
something.
No, because I've actually got
to
something
keep
that I think
you
is pretty
quiet
funny.
for
Yes.
a few minutes.
This proposal, right, was originally proposed in 2024 and ratified by the UN. Okay. So it's not like this was Trump's plan. Josh froze. Is he still there? Or is
My
camera
video
just doing
just
it
keeps.
again? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. My video just keeps.
So it's
shutting
not
off.
like Trump came up with a plan over the weekend.
He had a dream.
And he's like, boom, I got a plan. And this is what we're going to do, right? The plan has been working, like they've been working on this for about a year. Of a staged ceasefire, hostage exchange. This was approved by the UN.
Yeah, I get that.
And most of the credit, right, actually goes to Egypt and Qatar. And I think what finally pushed Trump over the edge is when Israel dropped bombs in Qatar on Hamas leaders. And Trump likes Qataris right now because what did they just give him, right?
A plane.
A plane. So he was pissed. And all the reporting suggests he was furious with Israel when they bombed Qatar.
Well, he should be regarded.
Yeah, right. Totally fair, right? So he's pissed with Israel over this. And then he finally, I think, and here's where I'm saying he does get some credit. Okay. So the peace plan wasn't like his idea that he came up with over the weekend. He's like, I got an idea. Let me put this on my Burger King wrapper, right? Like that was not what happened.
McDonald's. He likes McDonald's.
Yeah, sorry, McDonald's. Thank you. The plan is already kind of being developed, but I think what he finally did was like, no, now we're actually going to do it. And if you don't, I'm upset. We're going to cut off weapons, whatever he did. But I think he probably threatened Netanyahu.
Well,
he's like, no, it's time. You're going to do this, right?
Yeah, there was that whole thing about like he got after
bringing
Netanyahu
it to the
and said,
culmination.
Yeah,
I'll give him credit for that. The plan, this is beautiful Trump branding, right? This is what he's really good at. Is like, it's my plan. It's the Trump peace plan.
Best plan
right?
ever.
Yes. It was never his plan, right? The plan was started under Biden and it was under Egypt and Qatar and like all these other people contributed to it. And at the end of the day, it was Israel and Hamas who agreed to the plan.
Right.
So I'll give him credit for like wrapping it up, finally pushing it over the edge. But at the end of the day, it wasn't his plan, right? So like, yeah, does he get some credit? But I want you guys to watch a very quick clip from SNL. So it's Michael Che. He actually talked about this in Weekend Update. I'm gonna just drop it in the chat, and then I'll see if I can actually put it in. We'll see if we can put it in because sometimes our videos get flagged if we do that. But check, just like click on that link and just watch the video from Michael Che. This is the other part where I'm going to give Trump credit because I think it's actually pretty funny. And I'll cut this in post or whatever, right? But watch that video and see if you agree.
Many leaders in the Middle East are crediting President Trump with brokering the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, but it makes perfect sense to me because sometimes crazy people only listen to other crazy people. Like when you see a guy jacketing on the subway, you don't just ask him to stop. No, you got to take off your pants too, and now we can negotiate.
Come on, that is funny. That is funny.
That quick part?
Yes, just that. That's all I wanted. It like that joke cracked me up when I watched it. Right,
but it's probably accurate.
Like, it's probably accurate.
Who else has the gumption or whatever you want to call it to bully all of these other countries into line and like, okay, we're doing it now.
Right.
Like,
so
I fully acknowledge your point. I'm sure Trump wasn't the one that was like, all right, here's all the steps of our plan. This is how we're going to do it. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fantastic. Like, I'm sure that's not, but he is a deal maker. He's good at that. And he's good at foreign policy. So to your point, to Michael Che's point with that joke, yeah, he's the crazy man that took his pants off and went, all right, this is what we're doing.
You need to repeat for everybody the joke. Repeat the joke for our listeners who didn't get to see it, right? What did Michael Che say in that video? Because it's funny.
No, he said if there's a crazy dude on the subway that takes his pants off, you don't just tell him to stop. You take your pants off too, and you go, okay, now we can negotiate.
Yes. That cracked me up because I was like, you know what? He's probably right with that, right?
Yeah.
You need somebody who's just batshit crazy, who's going to be like, all right, fine. You don't want to negotiate? We're going to drop all the bombs on you, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that Trump could actually pull off. So this is the like, I don't know, 5, 10, 20% that you want to give him credit for. I'm totally fine with that. The 80% of the actual plan that he clearly had nothing to do with, he doesn't get credit for that. But bringing it to like climax, awkward sexual reference there, but like bringing it to climax, I'll give him credit for that. Yeah, I'll give him credit for that.
You're saying he's so unhinged and unpredictable that he's scaring people, that he's getting people to do what he wants them to do.
I mean, that's what Michael Che is saying in that joke, which
I've
is why
said
it's
that-
funny because
You're
it's kind of
agreeing.
true.
Okay.
Yeah,
I said that
some
the
level.
first time he got elected. We could go back on the podcast. I think that's
I know.
why some of his foreign policy has been effective.
Yeah.
People don't know. Like, you could bully Biden around. Like, Biden didn't stand up to anybody, right? He's a senile old man. You don't know what Trump's going to
Well,
do.
that
He
was the
might be
whole-
like, "Oh, you don't want to buy my sneakers? I'm going to bomb your country." Like, you don't know.
Well, that was the argument that Russia invaded
Crimea.
Ukraine during Obama and during
Yeah.
Biden, but never during Trump,
Yeah.
right? Because he's like, you don't want to mess with me, man.
He's a
I'll go
wild card,
crazy."
baby.
Okay,
Yeah.
but he's also not got him to stop at this point,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
So
True.
he's done nothing on that front to really
Well, he
stop
has,
the war.
but he hasn't been successful yet.
He hasn't been successful. So anyway, that would be my take is like, give credit where credit is due. Does he get 5 to 10% for wrapping this up in the end? Yeah. And I liked what you said. Hopefully this will age well, right? We don't know if it'll age well, but hopefully this will age well. And at the end of the day, it lasts. I don't know if it will. I'm hopeful.
Here's my question, Ryan. In a year from now, peace still in place, and like they're still doing it. Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize?
No.
No. All right.
My gosh. Because
What?
he blew up a Venezuelan drug boat.
No. Did he orchestrate this?
He
He took credit for it. He took credit for
it. It was
it.
his administration, and
Yeah.
he said he named a bunch of members in his cabinet that'd been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
because I
But it was
listened to
also
some
Biden's
of,
cabinet who did the same thing, right?
But
It
there
started
was-
with Biden.
Would you give him credit because, and I think that's what you were saying, but because like Netanyahu, that like Hamas agreed to like 9 out of the 10. It was like 20, but it was like they agreed to
Sure.
like 18 out of the 19 points, and Netanyahu was like, "Oh, look, they're back," and he kind of started backing up, and Trump was like, because that was the one where he's like, "Take the effing win" or something like that. He's like, "Stop being such a effing hater" or something like that. And it's like, and he like chewed out Netanyahu and then got him on board.
yeah, like Biden's not doing that.
Well, that's
Right,
what I'm
again,
saying, like,
I'll give him credit for bringing it to the culmination,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sure.
But does that mean that he solved Middle East peace? He didn't solve Middle East peace, right? Like he solved one awful, awful conflict, and it wasn't him that solved it. Like he brought the last little piece to the end, and then he put his name all over it and was like, Trump
But-
Hotel, Trump
But I
Peace
think this is
Accord,
bigger
Trump did
than just a
everything,
little
right?
piece, because a big one of the most volatile things in the Middle East was the existence of Israel, right? That
Well, still, I mean, like that's very volatile.
But the fact that he has so many countries at the table saying, "Hey, let's get some peace. Let's acknowledge that Israel has a right to exist, and let's maybe create a Palestinian state." Like they've tried that before, but that's why I'm hopeful about it.
Well, again, we're very hopeful. What we have right now is a prisoner exchange, presumably the end of hostilities. Israel's army has not left Gaza, right? They pulled back to a yellow line.
Yeah.
They're holding. And then the idea is they're going to put a technocratic administration in charge. None of that has happened at this point, right?
It's the first
So-
day.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, like I get it. So this is why
Let
I'm
me
like,
hope
okay,
a little bit.
provisionally, we'll hope that this actually works. But that is also the Gaza Strip, right? We still have the whole West Bank. It's not like this issue is resolved, and we have plenty of other countries throughout the Middle East who still want to see Israel destroyed. So it's not like we've resolved like Middle East conflict is done forever, right? And Trump
I've
did
never said that.
Right,
We'll
right. I
see how
know.
it
I'm
ages.
not. I'm just saying, like, this is a nasty, awful, horrific conflict where more than 60,000 people died. It's bad. Like, none of this was good. This is also a relatively small piece of land, right, in the Middle East relative to all the rest of the Middle East. Who knows what's going to happen next? I
Well,
have no idea. We
but it
still have
always
Yemen
has.
that's going crazy, right?
The next-
So,
Israel is the size of a postage stamp. It's like 0.0001% of all the land in the Middle East, and that's too much for so many of the Muslims to be in Jewish hands, right?
yeah.
So it's always been a tiny little spot that creates a lot of the conflict.
Okay, well, follow-up question. So, Ryan, did Obama deserve the Nobel Peace Prize?
What did he get it for? I don't even know what he got it for.
Getting elected as the first black president, like he got it immediately when he got elected. It was weird. It was very weird.
It
And he was
really
like
weird.
on the cover of the New York Times, and everybody's like, "Oh,
Well, that was the
good
thing
job."
is he got it, and it was and there were two. He has, there was two wars going under his administration.
Yeah, he had like the most deaths or something, the most people killed by drone strikes. Like he had all sorts of bad crap going on. But he got the Nobel Peace Prize, but not Trump.
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy about that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean,
Can
you just
I-
heard me say it. Like, I don't know why he really got it, right? Like, do I like Obama? Yeah, I like Obama. Do I think he deserved it? Yeah, that seems like a bit of a sketch one, to be honest.
Nice. We're finding a lot of agreement tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, great.
All right.
The whole point.
Can I throw something that Ryan's not going to agree on? Now that I've given everybody hope on the Middle East.
Sure.
Right.
So I listened to it was Ben Shapiro, who's obviously a very conservative Jew, right? He is over the moon about this, and he went back to Israel, and Trump's there now, and the Jews apparently are really happy with Trump. They're praising his name. Bibi Netanyahu's saying he's the best friend the Jews have ever had in the White House. Like, they're over the moon about Trump right now. I was listening to some of the speeches, and like, it's crazy how much the Jews like Trump. Like weird. So looks like the U.S. and Israel have really solidified their relationship, and so and part of this deal,
Israel and Trump have really solidified their relationship.
yeah, but part of this
Did they
deal,
also buy like $10 billion in Trump
I
meme
don't know.
coins or something?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's
Right.
going to come out tomorrow.
Right.
Here's where I'm getting at that Ryan's gonna hate. The prophecies for the end times are the U.S. and Israel are basically going to fight the rest of the world in World War III. That's kind of how a lot of people have interpreted the prophecies in the Bible. So as I was listening to all of these Jews praising Trump and America and stuff, I was like, this is weird. And part of the plan might not happen is a bunch of the other Middle Eastern countries are going to put troops in Gaza to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Right next to Israel. This is conspiracy theory, religious stuff.
Yeah, you were totally going down a conspiracy theory.
That's just where my brain went. So I was like, I'm hopeful. This is cool.
Do you want commentary, or you're just dropping this?
We've been agreeing on everything tonight, and I've been trying to be really civil.
Just seeing if you get lucky.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get something. Just so our listeners can't accuse me of moving too far to the moderate side or something. I don't know. Yeah, you can give me commentary. This was just me kind of.
Okay, so here's the only thing that I will say. Can you give me a timeline for when the apocalypse is going to happen and everything? No. Because I really wanted a timeline. So the day after it happens, it doesn't happen, that I can be like,
hey, still here.
I saw
that's my only response is like, it's totally not going to happen.
Somebody posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago because there was supposed to be another rapture.
I know. Yeah.
Somebody's
they
like,
happen
man,
all the time.
I've lived through 3 raptures now.
When do I
they
go?
happen all the time, right? So I'm just waiting for give me a date, Josh. Give me a date.
God is very specific in the Bible that no man knows the time of his coming. I don't have a date.
Give me a date. That's all I look. Give me a date.
Okay, you Pharisee. We don't have dates. Prepare yourself for your time to meet God. That's the only advice he gives you.
This is interesting. I met someone. I was traveling and spent some time with some dude that was like talking, and he was like kind of going over some stuff, and starts talking about the Jews and his disdain for the Jews, and I was like,
Boy.
oh, and then he started talking about some other stuff. I'm like, I'm like, so you're kind of like far right, and he's like, oh no, I'm way past far right, and I was like, oh, and but he like goes in and talks about like he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't like the Jews, and I don't like these, and it was like bunch of some racist stuff." And he's like, everything H man did, I think is fine." And I'm like, "Who's H man?" And he's like, "Hitler."
Hitler? Oh,
Oh,
God.
Oh,
right.
oh,
I was
Wow.
like,
jeez.
it was really, I had a really interesting conversation to see.
That's what you say. Maybe lead with that so I know I don't have to talk to you.
Right. Well, it was like,
Wow.
it was really interesting because I asked him a lot of questions, and it was just like to see like where he was coming from, and like I don't know. This is the thing. Like I hear in the media that like white nationalism is like the Biden administration said white nationalism was the biggest threat to the domestic security, and like that's an interesting. I was like, what, right? And like it was interesting to see like this was like a person who's totally in the tank for
There.
that, right?
Yep.
And drinking that Kool-Aid and like ready to like
Pick up
die for
arms
this
and kill
cause.
people.
And like yeah, and it was like that was interesting. And he went off on all sorts of things and like he made some interesting points that I was like, that's interesting. Never thought about that. But like, yeah, but I'm like, but in the Bible, it does, there's a few things that just don't align up with what you're saying. And, but it was interesting to see that there are people out there that are like very much not for Israel and like not for like working with Israel and like, or any like Jews being in the United States. And so that was interesting. And so, just to see that perspective that is like alive and well. And I've heard, like, I've seen the sentiment, like I've seen like protests or like Jews will not replace us. I've seen like
It's weird.
and I'm
It's
like,
really
who are
weird.
these people? And then I'm like, I
Yeah.
finally met one. And I'm like, oh, I'm like,
I want to know where you were, Tom. Where did you meet this dude?
in Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere. But so it was interesting. So, yeah, it's like it opened my eyes a bit. I was like, wow, that's
I'm picturing Tom camping like on this mountain, and some dude just walks in. Just, can I share your fire, pilgrim?
so
I mean, you guys know where the hotbed of white nationalism is. Northern
No idea.
Idaho.
Florida? Oh,
Northern
really?
Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is like the epicenter of white nationalism in the
I
United
thought
States.
it was Vermont.
I didn't know that.
No.
The
It's
highest,
Coeur
like,
d'Alene, Idaho
I
is
had
like
one of the
insanely
whitest states
crazy.
there is.
Yeah.
I had a really strange neighbor move there, and then he invited me to go wolf hunting. And I was like, "There's no way. You'll probably rape me in my sleep. You're a weird dude. I am not going to Coeur d'Alene to hunt wolves with you."
Which, the worst part about it is like, have you been to Coeur d'Alene?
No,
Nice.
it's pretty. I've heard it's pretty.
Beautiful. It is
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, and it has been largely taken over by white nationalists.
That's a
It's
shame.
Well,
it's
a lot of
so
people
sad
vacation
because it's
there.
beautiful. Huh?
A lot of
Yeah,
people.
I have a
like,
friend
Yeah,
that
it's gorgeous.
a
that goes
summer
up there.
cabin.
Absolutely
Interesting.
gorgeous and filled with
didn't know that.
white nationalists.
Yeah, I mean they exist. And we know they exist. We just on the
Mhm.
right, we hate them. Like we're like, we don't want to be associated with you. Like pick another direction. There's the left, there's the right, and then you guys should be somewhere else because we don't like you on the right. We call them out.
Well,
That's
I think
interesting.
this is a case where like where you go too far on the left and right, and they coming back together on the other side. This is where you get like Antifa,
Yeah.
and they're willing to be violent, right? And they're like,
Against fascism. They're willing to be fascist against what they perceive as fascism. It's weird.
right. And so anyway,
Um,
Anyway,
Yeah, that Jewish hatred thing. When Ryan and I have an uncle, he was Jewish. He was a famous guy in Hollywood. And when he died, I remember scanning the comments, and there was 3 or 4 people. Like so many people were like, "Oh, I loved his work," or "I met
was
him and he was
Jewish?
so nice."
Yeah,
Our
Stan was.
uncle Stan
Yeah.
Winston.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he Jewish. Oh yeah, he's in Hollywood. Of course, you have to be Jewish apparently. But I remember scanning the comments, and there was like 2 or 3 guys. There's hundreds of people just praising him because he wasn't like the nicest guy.
He was
so
a
cool.
super nice guy. He was great.
2 or 3 comments of people were like, yeah, I met him once and he was really nice to me, but he was a GD Jew. It's just like, what are you thinking? Like, why do you hate the Jews so much? What did they do to you?
Right.
But that's the history of Jews. They've been with the pogroms, and like they've been hunted and hated and reviled for a very long time. It's a very strange, interesting history, and I just don't get the hatred. All the Jews I've met have, like, our oldest brother's dating a Jewish lady. She's filthy rich, by the
Carol's
way.
Jewish.
She's Jewish. That's
I
like
didn't even know.
that's Jake's joke always, is that's why she's so rich. She's got all those
Oh,
Jew
geez.
connections.
Yeah.
Great.
Maybe.
Awkward to say.
She's super nice. I think she's one
well,
of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
this podcast got flagged.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, okay. I shouldn't even say anything. I should just
Say
shut
it.
up.
We're already in the weeds.
There are ultra-Orthodox Jews who I think you would struggle with. Josh just cut out. He's like, nope, I'm not going to have. Are you guys familiar with like all the different types of Jews in the world?
Well,
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot.
They're
There's
not in
Hasidic.
agreement. Well, and
Right.
there was a whole like, well, and this is one of the things that I was informed of. It was like that. Basically, he was saying that what what was the attack from Hamas? Was October 17th or something like that?
Over
2
9.
years- 2
7th
years
or
ago?
9th. I'll look it
7th,
up,
yeah.
but yeah.
But that was a conspiracy by Jerusalem Israel let that happen in order for them to like go and attack the Hamas and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
And the country was basically on a verge of civil war because the different sects were like not like jiving, and that this was sort of like a not Netanyahu's play to like unify the country against a common enemy kind of a thing, and allowed
There
October.
is definitely tension there, right? There's
No,
there's very
my
serious
point is that
tension.
like
Yeah.
there are different Jews of different like
Yes,
alignments, right?
very, very different.
Yeah.
Right. So at one point, secular Jews, right, so were like ethnically Jewish, but not, I mean, like they celebrated a lot of the holidays, but didn't believe a lot of it. They were the majority in Israel. And that started to shift. And then you have like your Reformed Jews, which is what our cousins were, right? So Stan was a Reformed Jew, which is kind of the more progressive branch of that. And then you have a variety of like more Orthodox groups. And then you get to the ultra Orthodox, and like you're not allowed to have phones. You're not allowed to have access to the internet. You're not allowed to do anything except what your rabbi tells you to do. Like it's super, super restrictive. I just read an article about this, about people who have left and like how they adjust to life outside of it. And I'm not like saying this because this is anything like a dig at Jews, right? Like absolutely not. Love Jews, have no problem with that. But like there are definitely Jews who are antagonistic to outsiders, right?
Right.
So there's variation among all groups, right? And like
Sure.
that's the only
That's
point
not a
that I'm trying to
surprise
make, is
to me.
like there's a lot of variation here. We just need to be aware. And that's partly where Netanyahu has been getting most of his support, is the ultra Orthodox are so antagonistic to outsiders that they're the ones who are like, yeah, we don't have a problem with you just like killing millions of Gaza citizens.
Well, from what I could see today, it looked like most of Israel was in support of the peace
Ending it.
deal and Netanyahu and ending it and getting
I sure hope so.
the prisoners back. Like everybody seemed to be pretty happy with Netanyahu today. But my favorite Jew I've ever met was Stan's mom, because we were having dinner one time and she was like, I don't know, kind of Orthodox or whatever. She like wouldn't eat pork. We were having pork chops, and I
It
think
should be kosher. Should be
yeah,
kosher.
and Aunt Karen was like, "You can't eat that. Pork chops aren't pigs." And we're having bacon like in the next morning. She's like, "You can't eat that. Bacon's not a pig." That lady was awesome. She was my favorite.
Yeah. Interesting. So that was our strange commentary on Jews at the end of
I
the
like
podcast.
Jews. I think they're great.
I think
I'm
we
glad
should
to-
all just say that at the end. Like, let's just all say we all
Of-
like Jews. We are
every
not
podcast?
anti-Semitic on this podcast. Like, we're not doing that. Tom, just say it. Just say it.
Love the House of Israel. I'm all
Thank
for
you.
it.
Let's just get that out of the way. We don't need anybody saying like that's an anti-Semitic podcast because we're not.
No.
Well,
But we recognize
it's not even
that things are complicated.
One of the things I was thinking about today when I was listening to part of Trump's speech and everything, and I liked that. I mean, it's weird. There was a lot of cheering for Trump, and they were Trump. Man, he eats that stuff up. That part was a little weird, but he did. He gave credit to God at one point. I was like, wow, good on you, Trump, because I worry about that sometimes with him. And
you
it
mean
got
he
me
gave credit
thinking,
to himself, right?
I already trashed Trump. Let's give credit where credit was due.
He thinks
said,
he is God, so
well,
yeah.
no, okay.
Oh,
He
I
gave
see
credit to
what
God here. Okay, that's where I was going, but he gave credit where credit was
Yes.
due. And where my brain went was like, it's so sad because the Jews are our brothers from the house of Judah, and the Muslims are our brothers from, I believe, the tribe of Reuben. I think they claim Reuben as ancestry, right? Like, it's sad. And we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ. We claim lineage to tribes. Like, we're all brothers. It's sad that we have to fight. We all worship the same God. Well, those of us that worship gods. It's sad that this has just drug on for so long. It really is. I'm not anti-Jew. I'm not anti-Muslim. We're all brothers here. So I'm super hopeful about this. I'm hopeful that there could be a lasting peace. Sorry, that's a tangent. Somebody better end this.
Yeah, let's end it. That was good. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We love Jews. Take anything away from this. All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.
Josh, we may not always agree when it comes to politics, even though we're trying, but there is one thing we agree on. There is only one way to clean up after going to the bathroom, and that's with a Lux bidet.
I've been a proud owner of a Lux bidet for years. I have literally owned a Lux Neo 320 since 2013. That's the warm water model. Talk about happy, fun, poopy time. When I leave the bathroom, I know I'm clean and ready to talk politics in a civilized manner.
Exactly. Using a toilet without a bidet is about as uncivilized as it gets. Civil conversations demand civil hygiene practices.
And that is why our listeners should get themselves a Lux bidet.
And just to be clear, Lux is not supporting one side or the other in this podcast. They support civil conversations and clean butts.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. The music is by Ben Sound. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not those of their employers. For more information or more episodes, you can find us at findingcommonbattlegrounds.com.